All right, so here we go. When you first connect your Xenas gun to the Xenas utility, this is the main screen that appears. This is to close it. This is kind of like your options. You can switch languages, whatever language you want to use, but since we're going to use English for now, just stick with English. That disconnects it. You can actually change the name of your Xenas gun. In case if you have multiple guns, you can just choose whatever you want to call this up. I can just say like my gun 1, right? Excellent. This you can check the battery status, fully charged. This top tabs lets you do various things with your gun. This information obviously lets you know everything about your gun. Infrared sensor is where you test out the camera. You can also change your IR configuration, change your screen size. Motion sensor is where you actually test the motion sensors of your Xenas gun. As you can see here, if I move it around, you can also test the graphs, see what's going on. That's working. When you're playing games such as Call of Duty, if you feel like it's too sensitive or not sensitive enough, you can always adjust the sensitivity of each axis. Testing settings is kind of like where you adjust all the functionalities. You can check the LCD status, display none, gun status, software. So the LCD will display kind of like the bullet count of the game that you're playing. LEDs that are flashing on the side here, you can do all that stuff. Just kind of customize it, which is cool. Now, my favorite is the button layout. Button layout is basically where you change what the buttons on the Xenas gun does. Right here, these are presets. If you're gonna play on the console, you would like to select console. This is for PS5 and Xbox and Nintendo Switch. I haven't tested on the Switch 2 yet. Well, I don't have Switch 2 yet, so I don't know yet. If you wanna play on mobile, you can set up mobile. Mobile is still kind of like in the beta phase. Not perfect yet, but eventually we'll get there. Stylus, if you wanna just paint. Light stick, a lot of these will be taken out. These were just what we did as testing. I don't think too many people will be using flight stick or stylus, but you know, we'll have to there for now. Gamepad, if you just want to play a game, but you want it to be like in a gun mode, yeah, there you go, set it to the gamepad. Motion gun, this is like the one I always use when I'm playing games such as like Call of Duty type of game, first person shooter type of games. Now, most people will set it to light gun. Light gun is kind of like the bread and butter of such controllers. You need some kind of infrared sensor, and you can play all your classic games. Now, all of these ones, all these presets that I showed you, flight stick, you know, console, mobile, these are the functionalities of the buttons on the Xenas gun. Excuse me for 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to drink water. My voice was drying up. So when you select, let's say you select light gun, right? This here shows you everything that the buttons on the X gun does. So like joystick left, right, it's keyboard left, right, right? Back button, keyboard escape. And that's just pretty much it. It's all set up like that. You can always customize it your own way, but you cannot customize the presets. For instance, this PC light gun, you can't change it. Or motion gun. It's basically fixed. To change it, there are 3 custom settings that you can select. It's custom 1, custom 2, and custom 3. You can also change the name. So for instance, I could change the name of this guy to test, whatever you call it, whatever you want, don't really matter, right? And then for test, I can just go down this list and set every single button on the Xenas of what I want to set it to. First one, aiming method. So it's basically telling you how do you want to aim. In this list, you can set it to none, so which basically means moving your X gun around does basically nothing. This setting is motion, which means you're going to be doing motion controls. You want to play first person shooter games? Yeah, motion control is where you want to be at. Light gun is basically for those classic games. Actually, some games nowadays are like light gun based. You get the cursor on the screen, wherever you aim your gun, that's where the cursor goes. And light gun requires some kind of IR. No matter whether you have a sensor bar, 2 sensor bars, one of those IR boxes, doesn't really matter. Just as long as you've got some kind of IR, light gun will work, right? Now, there are other modes that you can use. Just rotate joystick left. I think other light guns call this joystick mode. But with the Xenas, just rotating your gun can actually emulate a joystick, a controller joystick going up and down. You can also change the right side. Or if you like, you don't have to move it. You can also emulate the joystick motion using IR sensors, right? You can select what functionalities you want your thumbstick x-axis to perform. Let me see if I go to keyboard left, right. You could select what's the joystick gonna do up and down. Click, and when you click the joystick, what do you want it to do? Gamepad, keyboard, emulate a mouse click. You can emulate whatever you want to emulate, right? Same thing, back button, A, B, X, Y, grip, trigger. Now, the trigger on the Xenas is pressure sensitive, which means it has multiple layers of pressure detection. For here, you can select what would happen when you lightly squeeze the trigger. You select gamepad button. I mean, just you pick whatever you want. You can emulate whatever you want to emulate. I could do let me see here. I usually do a mouse left click. Let's see if I can get that here. Mouse left click, or actually rather mouse right click. But I think you guys get the idea. And then fully press, you could do mouse. Let's see, mouse right click. So you give the trigger alone just gives you that kind of cool feature where if you lightly squeeze it, your character can aim in. And then when you pull it all the way, your character can fire. Think of like Time Crisis. When you let go of the trigger, your character crouches. When you slightly pull the trigger, your character stands up. And then when you pull it all the way, it shoots. It functions almost like a pedal and trigger, all in one finger, huh? Trigger off screen. I mean, yeah, this doesn't work for trigger off screen. Trigger off screen is basically for light gun. So it's what happens when you pull the trigger while you're not aiming. I think in most situations, people do reload. Reload button on the bottom. What does that do? What does that emulate? Slider. This slider here is a potentiometer, right? So you can actually slide it left and right to perform different features. There are games that we're going to be working on in the future, and that slider basically charges up your electric gun. Slider backwards. I love using this as a reload. It kind of gives you that cool functionality when you when you pull the slider all the way back. You're gonna reload. There's also slider forward. Typically, when I'm playing Call of Duty, I'll set this to throw a grenade. Shake. Remember, this gun is motion sensitive, so when you shake it, you can select what functionality would that emulate. So I can say R. So whenever I shake my Xenas gun, it sends the R keyboard to my computer. And in some games, R is for reload. Forward thrust, I do keyboard M. It's keyboard M somewhere. Keyboard M. Right here. Melee attack. So whenever I thrust the Xenas gun forward, I'll do a melee attack. Now, mind you, it does not matter. You can set it to whatever you want to set it. This is just to like show you my little custom way of doing stuff. Then once you're done, you get to click on the apply settings. Once you apply those settings, those features will take place in your gun. What I'm going to start doing now is I'll start putting up new videos on how to use this user interface. In this one, I kind of showed off the button layout. I think maybe sometime tonight, tomorrow, I might do like testing settings with like a detail. All right, guys, take care. Thanks for watching.